I had recently taken up a job as a night security guard at the old Belmont Hotel. Rumors had circulated about strange occurrences and ghostly apparitions haunting the halls. I don't believe in paranormal stuff. Nothing crazy ever happened to me. So I went to the hotel to start my first night. The ambient was, to say the least, very strange. The hotel looked pretty old and almost abandoned. That gave me a first bad impression of the place. But I didn't care about this because, as everyone says, don't judge a book by his cover. So I fastly moved on and went to the manager's office to get the instructions I needed for the shift. The manager looked pretty nice. The office was pretty different from the rest of the hotel, and this room looked a bit more modern, without giving me a chance to properly introduce myself correctly. He instantly handed me a set of rules, emphasizing their importance for my safety. I glanced at the sheet that looked kinda normal at first, and as I made my way to the tiny security guard office, my eyes narrowed as I read the instructions. Rule 1. Never leave the security office unless it's time for a routine check. Under no circumstances should you wander the hotel alone. Rule 2. Take a walk around each floor every hour. If it takes longer than 15 minutes, seek refuge in a nearby room until the time is up. Rule 3. Answer all calls coming through the security room phone. If it's a staff member, continue the conversation. Otherwise, hang up immediately. Rule 4. If you hear knocking on the security office door, hide in the nearby storage closet and do not open the door. Rule 5. If you hear unusual sounds like crying or laughter during your rounds, return to the security office promptly. Rule 6. If you spot a shadowy figure on the security cameras or during your rounds, close your eyes, turn away, and seek shelter in the nearest vacant room. If no rooms are available, count to 360 and then open your eyes. Rule 7. Camera 9 may capture disturbing images. When alerted by a low-pitched beep, maintain unwavering focus on the camera until it turns off. Rule 8. As your shift nears its end, resist the urge to fall asleep. Stay awake and alert at all costs. Rule 9. Keep this sheet of paper with you at all times. It holds crucial information. The manager assured me that the rules were essential for my safety, but doubts crept into my mind. Was this just an elaborate prank to test my nerves? Regardless, I decided to heed the instructions, reminding myself it was better to be safe than sorry. Hours passed in monotonous routine. I completed my rounds, checked the cameras, and resisted the creeping drowsiness that threatened to overtake me. As the clock struck 3 a.m., a piercing ring startled me from my weariness. I picked up the phone, my heart racing. "Hello?" I answered cautiously. A voice crackled on the other end. "It's Emily, the night receptionist. I need your help. Something's not right here." My breath caught in my throat. Was Emily in danger? I glanced at the cameras, hoping to catch a glimpse of any unusual activity. Yet everything appeared normal. I couldn't ignore her plea for assistance. "What's happening, Emily?" "Are you okay?" I asked, my voice filled with concern. But before she could respond, an eerie silence fell over the line. Then, a low growl reverberated through the receiver, followed by Emily's blood-curdling scream. The call abruptly ended, leaving me paralyzed with fear. I dropped the phone immediately. What happened to Emily? Is she okay? Is this part of the prank? I couldn't think correctly at that moment. All I knew is that maybe, if I don't follow the rules, things can go very wrong. Something is not right here. After what happened to Emily, I really needed to know if she's safe. I needed to confirm that nothing wrong is happening in here, and it's just a product of my imagination. I knew outside could be dangerous, and the set of rules that I were given were spinning on my head these hours. Against my better judgment, I stepped out of the security office, gripping the rules tightly in my hand. The hotel corridors stretched out before me, shrouded in darkness. As I made my way to the reception area, an unsettling silence hung in the air. The dim lights flickered, casting eerie shadows on the walls. Each step I took echoed through the empty halls, amplifying my unease. The rules, now crumpled in my hand, reminded me of the precautions I should have followed. But it was too late to turn back now. Reaching the reception desk, I saw no sign of Emily. The area was abandoned, with the desk covered in a layer of dust. A cold chill crawled up my spine, and I couldn't shake the feeling that I was being watched. That strange feeling when you're in a corridor and you have many doors around you, feeling that something is about to jump from some of those doors. A sudden movement caught my attention from the corner of my eye. I turned toward the hotel's grand staircase, and there, standing at the top, was a woman in a tattered white gown. Her long, disheveled hair cascaded down her shoulders, and her pale face wore an expression of eternal sorrow. Fear gripped my heart as she descended the stairs, her ghostly form gliding silently toward me. It was as if time had slowed down, each step she took filling me with a growing sense of dread. I struggled to recall the rules, my mind clouded with panic. Just as the apparition reached the final step, I remembered Rule 6. Rule 6. If you spot a shadowy figure on the security cameras or during your rounds, close your eyes, turn away, and seek shelter in the nearest vacant room. If no rooms are available, count to 360 and then open your eyes. I closed my eyes and turned away, seeking refuge in the nearest vacant room. My heart pounded in my chest as I entered the room and locked the door behind me. Inside the room, I took a moment to catch my breath. The silence was deafening, and the only light came from the flickering bulb above. I wondered how long I should wait, how long until the threat had passed. Minutes passed like hours, and my mind raced with uncertainty. Should I dare to peek outside? Would the ghostly figure still be there, waiting to claim me as its next victim? The rules seemed both a guide and a curse, offering guidance yet plunging me further into the unknown. The curiosity won, and I didn't wait more. I approached the door and slowly turned the handle. As the door creaked open, a sense of relief washed over me. The hallway was empty, devoid of any supernatural presence. I cautiously stepped out, determined to continue my investigation. Now I knew that something was happening and that I needed to follow the rules if I didn't want to suffer the consequences. I retraced my steps, making my way toward the security office. Glancing at the cameras, I noticed a flicker on camera 9. A low-pitched, loud beep filled the room, and my attention was drawn to the screen. A figure appeared, its features distorted and blurred as if torn between realms. Then I remembered Rule 7. Rule 7. Camera 9 may capture disturbing images. When alerted by a low-pitched beep, maintain unwavering focus on the camera until it turns off. So I forced myself to maintain unwavering focus on the camera. The figure's presence grew more menacing, its gaze piercing through the screen, reaching into my very soul. Sweat trickled down my forehead as the seconds ticked by, the pressure and weight of the moment almost unbearable. I couldn't look anything else. Then, as suddenly as it had appeared, the figure vanished. The camera returned to its normal view, as if nothing had happened. I let out a shaky breath, grateful that I had followed the rules. But my relief was short-lived. A distant sound caught my attention, a soft, mournful cry echoing through the hotel. It seemed to come from the depths of the building, beckoning me toward an unknown fate. I followed the sound of the mournful cry, my heart pounding in my chest. Each step I took felt heavier, as if an invisible force sought to hold me back. The hotel's hallways twisted and turned, leading me deeper into its labyrinthine depths. As I ventured further, the air grew thicker, suffused with a sense of despair and dread. Shadows danced along the walls, whispering secrets I couldn't comprehend. The rules clutched tightly in my hand felt like my only lifeline, the thin barrier between the world of the living and the realm of the supernatural. Finally, I reached the hotel's abandoned ballroom. The once grand space now lay in ruins, its ornate chandeliers shattered, and the dance floor covered in a layer of dust and debris. But amidst the decay, a faint light flickered, drawing me toward its source. I approached cautiously, my footsteps muffled by the thick carpet. The light emanated from a small side room, its door slightly ajar. With a mixture of trepidation and morbid curiosity, I pushed the door open. What I witnessed inside was beyond comprehension. The room seemed to exist in a twilight realm, suspended between the living and the dead. The walls pulsed with an otherworldly energy, pulsating with eerie hues of blue and violet. A cold gust of wind swept through the chamber, chilling me to the bone. In the center of the room stood a figure, bathed in an ethereal glow. It was a woman, her features ethereal and translucent. Her eyes gleamed with an otherworldly light, and her flowing gown seemed to billow without the touch of wind. She reached out toward me, her hand beckoning, her voice a haunting melody. Driven by a mix of fear and a desire to uncover the truth, I approached the gramophone. As I drew nearer, the music intensified, its haunting notes reverberating through my very being. The room seemed to sway in rhythm, the walls pulsating with an otherworldly energy. With a trembling hand, I reached out to touch the gramophone. The moment my fingers made contact, a surge of energy coursed through me, jolting me backward. The music grew louder, more dissonant, as if it were trying to tear apart the fabric of reality itself. Suddenly, the gramophone exploded into a shower of shards, its pieces scattering across the room. A deafening silence followed, broken only by the sound of my own labored breathing. I stood amidst the wreckage, my heart pounding in my chest. From the shattered remnants of the gramophone emerged ghostly apparitions, each one a twisted reflection of the suffering souls that had been trapped within the hotel's walls. They reached out toward me, their spectral hands grasping for a hold on the physical realm. In a frenzy of panic, I stumbled backward, desperately trying to evade their touch. But they were relentless, their translucent forms moving with an ethereal grace. One of them, a woman with hollow eyes and tattered clothing, lunged toward me, her outstretched hand inches from my face. Summoning every ounce of courage, I dodged her spectral grasp and sprinted toward the exit. The other apparitions pursued me, their wails and moans echoing through the corridors. Shadows writhed and twisted around me, threatening to ensnare me in their clutches. As I raced through the labyrinthine halls, I could feel the presence of the supernatural entities closing in. Their grotesque forms brushed against me, leaving a chilling residue on my skin. I could almost taste the despair that emanated from them, a bitter reminder of their eternal suffering. With each passing moment, the hotel itself seemed to come alive, its walls pulsating with a malevolent energy. Doors swung open and shut, revealing glimpses of spectral figures trapped in perpetual torment. The very fabric of reality was unraveling, and I was caught in its nightmarish grip. I could see a faint glimmer of hope, a flickering exit sign indicating the path to safety. Adrenaline coursed through my veins as I pushed my body to its limits, desperate to outrun the relentless pursuit. Just as I reached the exit on the top of the building, the hotel seemed to convulse. The hour was now 6 a.m., unleashing a torrent of supernatural forces. The floor beneath me crumbled, revealing a chasm of darkness. With no time to spare, I leaped across the gaping void, narrowly escaping its clutches. Many hands emerged from the exit door at the roof and then started appearing on the floor. Bloodstains and more disgusting stuff that I don't want to mention. I almost vomited, but I knew I had to push my body to the limits to escape from here. The ghosts were all around me, all hope was lost, but I saw something white in the corner, and I fastly approached to it. It was a piece of paper that said the following: Rule 10. If you're reading this, you're probably on the roof, which means you probably got caught. If that's the case, and only if it's the case, jump off the roof. I hesitated to jump. It was too high, and the floor was pure concrete. But then, I felt many hands trying to grab my legs. I saw them, their faces corrupted by the most obscure presence that this building hides. People from all ages with their faces completely corrupted and deformed. I knew that I didn't have much time to think, so I took the only option I had. I jumped off the roof expecting the concrete that would probably break all of my bones. but it didn't. As I landed on solid ground, I turned back to gaze at the crumbling hotel. It stood as a testament to the horrors that lurked within, a place forever tainted by the suffering of lost souls. With a mixture of relief and sorrow, I watched as the entire structure collapsed into itself, consumed by its own malevolence. At this point, my body couldn't resist more and fell to the ground. I woke up at the hospital, and I saw a paper on the desk. "Hey, I saw you did a great job at our hotel because we saw you have lots of skills to survive at night, so that's why we want to offer you a second job. We'll call you soon and don't forget to join us." Emily is with us. We are still here.